Hey, what's up, everybody? Lorenzo with Indie Comics and Reviews, and this is my top 12 indie comics of 2021. This was a really hard choice for me. A lot of hard choices, in fact. But I started with over probably 30 books, and I narrowed them all down to my top 12. Before we get started, if this is the kind of content you find interesting, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button. But before we get to the top 12 of the really top 12 books of the year, I want to go over a list of the honorable mentions, because these are some of the books that were so close to getting on that list, but for whatever reasons, just could not make the list. The top of that list is White from Black Mass Comics. Now, this is one of the many books that are coming out now featuring Black characters through one way or another have received powers in this universe, and White by far is the winner in that category. Not just that, but it's well written, the art is great, and you can find the predecessor to that series, which is Black. Those are like super hard to find, and if you can find this book in trade, be sure to pick it up, because there's only 2,500 copies of each book made. White is a really good book. Another one on that list that came out this year is The Me You Love in the Dark from Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. Scotty Young knocks it out of the park with this writing style. He seems to have a knack for writing. Jorge Corona's art is great. I'd seen his work before, but for some reason in this series, his work just popped out to me and really made that series. Right now, he's doing Batgirls for DC, so if you get a chance, check that out also. Another book on that list is the Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. This was some Image, I believe, and I really like this book. The only reason it probably didn't make my top 12 is because I did not finish the series. I read the number one, and I'll probably pick up the trade now that the series has come to an end. But I've heard nothing but good things from this book, and the first issue was just freaking hilarious. So definitely check that out too. Another book that just missed, Barbaric. This one's on Vault Comics. Owen the Barbarian and the witchy sidekick whose name escapes me right now. But that was just a fantastic book. Only 3 issues. Maybe that's what kind of held it back. I mean, maybe it needed more of a body of work. But those 3 issues were just fantastic. It was funny. It was violent. It has the talking axe that craves blood. I mean, what more can you ask for? That's definitely something to look forward to returning in 2022. Also, You Promised Me Darkness, one of my favorite series from the year, about these dark entities and this brother and sister that were just searching for something, and they tied into historical events like Halley's Comet that comes around every few years. The artwork is just beautifully black and white and just fantastic. This was definitely a hard cut for me. I wanted to put this on the top 12 list real bad. Another one was The Good Asian from Image. It is getting a lot of attention now because it was named, I forget where it was, what publication talked about it as being one of the best books of the year, not just comic books, but books of the year. And I also reviewed that number one. But I guess because it's the same as with Trigger Keaton and some of the others, I just didn't finish the series. It's just a game of numbers. I just can't sub to every series, but it was definitely a well-written series and very unique from the fact that it was written by an Asian person and giving you an insight on what it's like to be Asian, especially back in those times, an Asian detective back in the 1930s. I will absolutely be picking up the trade for this because the story was very compelling once the run is over. I will definitely check that out. Fear Case from Matt Kent. That was another great one. The Fear Case was one of the most anticipated books I would look for every week when it was coming out. The art, to be honest, kind of iffy. The art not that great, but the story was so compelling that I stuck around just for that. Only a 4-issue series. Don't know if it's in a trade yet, but you can find those issues. Check out Fear Case. Definitely a good read. Nocterra. Nocterra, the story of Val, who operates this rig which runs people on a railroad, or an underground railroad, if you will, between the surviving cities in this world without a sun. It's very well written. I think it's Scott Snyder. So it was, oh God, it was a really good book, but it was almost between this book and another one that did make the list, and I'll tell you about that one later. Really good characters. Looking forward to it returning as well. And there's a special that's coming out. It's maybe out already, but it'll be coming out very soon, and the series will be coming back too. But a great series nonetheless. Just didn't make the list. Ultra Mega. Ultra Mega. Not a big kaiju fan, but this looked at kaiju in a different light than I'd ever seen before. So Ultra Mega was super realistic and different as far as kaiju books. It looked at the reality of giant beings falling in the street and bleeding out that no one ever thinks about. The art was fantastic. A 3-issue limited series of they're all like not prestige format, but like giant size format. So a lot of art for your money with Ultra Mega. Definitely worth checking out. Silver Coin on the Image label. It's another anthology. This one had different writers every. Image has a lot of these different writers every month. I probably subbed to it for like 5 or 6 issues. That most of them were fantastic, but I've already got a couple of anthologies on the list, so I couldn't put too many on there. That's just a sample of some of the ones that didn't make the list. And there's some incompletes. If I was giving out a grade, I would give it incomplete to The Picture of Everything Else from Vault. That book had me engaged every issue, and I was looking for big things from it. And then after, I think, issue number 4, it just dropped off the map. A lot of good reviews out there about it, and I don't know what's happening with it. I've been looking around on the internet trying to find out what's happening with it. Someone said it was coming back like this month. Didn't make it back, but we'll see what happens with that. Post Americana on Image. It's kind of an incomplete, though it did finish. It just finished, just barely got issue number 7 out just before the end of the year. But it also, after issue number, I think number 5, it just fell off. And it took a while for 6 to come out, and it took a while for 7 to come out. That's the only thing that kept this one off the list as well. Great art and great coloring by Dave Stewart. And from the big 2, these books normally would be considered in this list. Beta Ray Bill from Daniel Warren Johnson. That book was so well drawn. He wrote and drew this book. And this is, in my opinion, the best Marvel book of the year. There's a lot of big events, King in Black, yada yada, all that. I thought this put some insight into a character that was like a secondary character, no respect, and that's the way he wrote him in this story. Beta Ray Bill, were it not about a Marvel character, would definitely be on this list. And from DC, there's The Nice House on the Lake from the Tiny Onion. I cannot put that on an indie list, even though it's on Black Label, but still, it's a DC book. And this, to me, is the best book of the year. Non-superhero book, indie book. If it were not an indie book, it would be probably at the top of the list for my favorite books of the year. But it's at the top of the list for my favorite non-indie books, for sure. And it's not even done yet. So I think there's good things to come from that series. So now we got all that out of the way. Finally, we can get into the top 12 best indie comics of the year. And at number 12, we have Vinyl. Vinyl. Yes, Vinyl, the weird story of this serial killer and this cult leader and the FBI agents and innocents that are caught in between these people. The art is just fantastic on this. Dave Stewart, once again, colors this book beautifully. There's just so much to look at in Vinyl, even without the story itself. I looked forward to every issue of this 6-issue limited series. Vinyl is something that you should really treat yourself to if you want to have a good time reading a comic book. Vinyl comes in at number 12. Number 11. This is the book that bumped out Nocterra, Shadecraft. And it all comes down to me liking Zadie Lou a little bit more than Val. So it's both great characters, both great stories, but there was something about the awkwardness and the innocence of Zadie Lou and her situation, learning how to control shadows, learning about how this affects her family. The art was just spot on. I just had to put Shadecraft on there, and it probably has been optioned like so many other books. I think Nocterra has also been optioned. So lots of books get optioned. We'll see what happens with them as far as the production goes. But just the series itself, it'll probably be coming back, I think, too, at some point. But Shadecraft, it kind of touched me, so I had to, after much consideration, had to put it in number 11. Number 10, Two Moons, also from Image. Maybe someday Image will be so big that they won't be part of the indies, but I doubt it because they're just so great in the way that they treat their creators. They're just a big indie, but they are an indie nonetheless. Two Moons is the story of a native and his struggle with his identity back in the Civil War as a soldier. Fighting for the Union Army. It's a supernatural thriller. It's continuing. I believe it's an ongoing series. It just came back. It resumed, and this could be a thing. Two Moons is very well illustrated, and the story has many possibilities. I look for big things from Two Moons. Coming at number 9, Ha Ha from Image. Another compilation anthology book. This one from Maxwell Prince. He does the same thing similar to what he's doing with Ice Cream Man. On Ice Cream Man, you got the whole Twilight Zone kind of a feel to it, whereas it could be supernatural or and such. But Ha Ha was more about the human aspect and about the sadness and drama, and mostly sadness in the lives of these different clowns. And there were some really touching stories in this. I think it was a 6-issue series. I want to say it was, but and lots of great incentive covers, lots of great variant covers. You can probably find these, I'm sure, at your local comic shop or online for sure. Check out Ha Ha. It's not it doesn't run in any order, but if you can collect that whole series, I think it's a good read. Ha Ha comes in at number 9 for me on my favorite comics of the year list. Coming at number 8, Geiger. Geiger for a while from Jeff Johns was just the shit. It was just, and it's still, to me, it's a very well produced comic, well written comic. It looks like that arc of the story is over. Maybe Geiger's part in it is over, but you never know with comics, the way it ended. And it seems like there's going to be a Geiger universe, which I am completely down with. Bring on the Geiger universe. I want to see all the characters, the surviving characters in this universe. I'm there for it. The 80-page giant is coming out pretty soon, and I can't wait to see it. There were lots of different covers for this book too. Really good series. check out the trade if you want, but check out Geiger for sure. It's a really good read. It has a heart. Um, Jeff Johns, this was a personal thing for him. He put a lot of himself into it, and you can tell because it just really has a good human aspect of this story of this man who survives an apocalypse and his love he has for his family. Number 7, I had to put him in there. Red Room from Ed Piskor on Fantagraphics. Not for everyone. Keep away from your kids. If you're uncomfortable with gore and extreme gore, and some of the nasty things that people may do to each other in the world, this is not for you. But this is the master cartoonist himself at work, Ed Piskor. Ed is a cartoonist, and he's one of the best in the business. He does not care about what people think. Some people call him smug, but sometimes you have to have a bit of confidence to be the best at what you do, and you just you get to the point where you don't doubt yourself. You just crank your shit out, and bam, this is my work, man. This guy has the most detailed work. If you look at his draftsmanship, the way that he does it, you watch the kayfabe videos he does with Jim Rugg. Those are great when they talk about other people's work. They deep dive into stuff like that. They have interviews. And going back to the whole cartoonist thing, I mean, I know a lot of writers or cartoonists, or artists, I should say. I know a lot of artists who I call, hey, you're a great cartoonist, and they cringe at the thought. Oh, I'm not a cartoonist. I'm an illustrator. Okay, that's great. You do you. That's great. But when you own the fact that cartooning is what I do, and I do that shit, and I do it well, that's what I love about Ed Piskor. I mean, you call me an Ed Piskor stan? Okay, maybe I am. But, I respect his work, and I think Red Room is just a fantastic display of that work. Number 6 on the list is a book that I talked a lot about also, Nottingham. This is on Mad Cave Studios. I bought the trade for Nottingham not long ago. I highly recommend picking that up. It's another take on an old subject, characters that are in the public domain. So there's a lot that can be done with that. The Robin Hood story has been told ad nauseum, but this is different. This is almost like a blending of Robin Hood and V for Vendetta. It's kind of similar styles, and it's the Robin Hood legend like you've never seen it before. So yeah, pick up this rendition of Robin Hood, and I think it will not disappoint. This is one of the best indie books of the year by far, and it comes at number 6 for me. Coming at number 5 is ENIAC. ENIAC is the best series I've seen from Bad Idea Comics so far. It was the first series, I believe. Comic Trade was Hero Trade was the first book from them. But the first ongoing series was ENIAC. There was a lot of hype around it. There's a lot of buzz around it, and rightfully so. Another Matt Kent joint, one of my favorite writers, did a great job on this, and I was just pretty much, bending heaven and earth trying to track down these hard to find Bad Idea books so I could keep track of the next issue of ENIAC. And the way it also blends history with fantasy, and it does it quite well. It's an action-packed, well-written, snappy dialogue, and it just kept me engaged to the very end. So I don't know if there will ever be a trade for this. There may be, but I'm not sure about that. Bad Idea has a strange marketing model for their business, but you can track down 1 through 4, even if they're the second printings or whatever they call their second printings. Check out ENIAC. ENIAC is definitely worth the read. It's a 4-issue series, and it won't disappoint. Next book, number 4, is Shadow Doctor. Shadow Doctor is the true story of this man whose grandfather confessed on his deathbed that he was a doctor for the Al Capone mob. And being a black doctor back in those days, you really couldn't get any work. So he just did what he had to do. And it's very real, very raw, and just a 5-issue limited series. This, I believe, has been optioned also. It's very well written. The art is great also on here. This is Aftershock, I want to say. This is the publisher on this. So, yeah, this is something that if this doesn't turn into some sort of a film or a TV project, I would really be surprised. But as it is, it probably is out now in a trade. If not, whenever it comes out in a trade, definitely check out Shadow Doctor. Maybe you'll pick it up from your LCS too. I was at mine the other day and I saw some back issues. So check out Shadow Doctor. Won't disappoint you. Coming down to the top three. The top three. Number 3 on the list, Stray Dogs. Stray Dogs just came out of nowhere. It surprised me. It's another Image winner. I just bought it on a whim, and when I bought it, after I read it, I was just like blown away. Okay, wow, so glad I got in on this on the ground floor. And of course, it became known for all the homage to movies covers that they came out with. That just made it more interesting. And there's another follow-up series that just came out, Stray Dogs 2, Dog Days. I think it's only 2 issues on that one. But the first series is great. It's you pick up the trade if you can't get any of those covers. So a lot of those are just like become almost beyond reach now. Everyone's discovered the series. The Secret is out. Animal Castle is out now. So there's other series that are kind of taking the same kind of angle toward their stories. This story of a serial killer collecting a house full of dogs, is what it turns out to be without giving away too much, is just one of the best books of the year for me. And it comes in at number 3. It could have easily been number 1, but Stray Dogs will not disappoint either. Number 2 on the list, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. This Boom Studios gem, Ron B, is just so well done. It's touching. It's surprising. It's the art is just engaging. It's such a loose style of art, but it tells a story so beautifully. The ending, some say, may have been a little light, but that's okay. I mean, I think the ending was a pleasing ending. I'll put it that way. And this is something that is probably going to be some sort of project in the future, without a doubt. Lots of issues of that out there as well. Some variants that look great. There's like a unlockable variant with every issue that was a super shiny, nice looking cover. So you can find those. Those are nice to look at. Many Deaths of Layla Starr. It was just a tough call, but I had to put it at the top of the list, almost at the top of the list, because the number 1 is coming up. And that number 1, I know it's going to surprise a lot of people. I have a lot to say about it, but that's okay. Your mileage may vary. You might not agree with me, but this is my top 10. So at the top of the list, number 1 book for 2021 is Carmen from Guillaume March. Guillaume March did a lot of great work on for other publishers. He's done some other things like the Batman series. He was the artist on the Joker series, I should say. Did great work on that. But he did some stuff that he's bringing out now. Laura, which is one of his books that he's reissued since the success of Carmen. But to me, Carmen, this is the story of this unconventional angel who kind of goes off the rails and cares to this girl who has made a horrible mistake. Some people complain about the fact that it doesn't take suicide seriously. I disagree. I think this is just a great book. It talks about second chances and the choices one makes in life. And the female character gets to reflect on her life and everything, all the decisions that she's made. And she, without giving it away too much, there's a lot of redemption in this series. And at the end, I think you will feel fulfilled at the way it turns out. It's beautifully drawn. To write and draw something like this is incredibly hard. The way that she's like new the entire series for the most part, and just the strategic ways that they conceal her nudity or just make her a little bit more modest is pretty clever, and just it's just a joy to read. It's all the aerial shots of her homeland is just a beautiful book to look at, beautiful book to read, and I had to make that my #1 book because I was looking forward to Carmen every week. 6-issue limited series from Image, another winner. What can I tell you? Well, that's it. This is my top 12 list. Let me know what you think your top books are for 2021. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine. That's why we're here, to have a discussion. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about everything. I'll be making some more reviews coming up early next month, maybe middle of next month. Get back on the review wagon. So until then, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see everybody next year. Happy New Year, everybody. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.